Hey everybody, it's Kammie with the Organizing Experts, and I have a special interview today. I'm interviewing two mamas from Tacoma, Washington. This is going to be Kayla and Brooke, and they are the owners of the PodWorks. And so it's a creative workspace designed just for moms, and you can actually bring your children in to come work with you. So they're a part of the process. And so I know this takes a lot of thought and consideration and organizing, and what better women to talk to about this. So joining me today is Kayla and Brooke. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
So who's Kayla? Who's Brooke?
I'm Kayla. And I'm Brooke.
And how did this get started?
And Lucas here. Well, actually, we actually run two businesses. So the Pod Collective, which you saw is like our website domain, and that's kind of the first thing you come to. And that's Brooke's side of our business, and that's you want to.
Yeah, so, me and Kayla basically had a similar vision to help empower moms to kind of that want more to do more. And so we met and kind of started two different things. She wanted more in-person here in Tacoma, an actual physical space. And I have a background in business coaching and doing project management and helping moms to develop their businesses and grow their businesses. So we just kind of combined our efforts, and I run a lot of my meetings out of the PodWorks here. I just had a meeting with clients working on their websites, and I host a lot of workshops and stuff here. So we kind of used each other's ideas to make something even better.
That's awesome. And it's like I said before, it's just so needed. I mean, I've been with a friend of mine, we've been looking for collaborative spaces. And it's one thing, though, as mothers, because you all feel like you're doing 20,000 things at once anyway. And then when it comes to work or what you want to do creatively, finding childcare and all that is really difficult. And so to have a collaborative space where you can bring them with you is really awesome. Yeah. And so how did that come to life? How did you guys think, like, how do you make all of that work?
Did we lose you?
I think it just froze a little bit, but we'll talk. Maybe it'll keep going. Kind of how this space came to be is actually another mom boss, Jen, had this specific space that we're in now. I'm running another business, and it kind of opened up at the right time for Kayla and us. I hope we're still.
I know, I don't know.
And we're back.
Okay, we're back.
Technology is so fun.
I'm like, if you keep talking, or maybe we should stop.
I think it's important to say that, like, when we realized what this interview was and like what your message is, we kind of felt like, wow, we probably aren't the best examples, but I think that's just how moms feel, like across the board, because we do have so many different roles and just like hats to wear, and so that's where like organization is huge, and we probably are in the spectrum of it. I would say probably, more experience with it because we have to be, but then at the same time things, sometimes don't work out the way we want them to, or we're not as organized as we wish we were. But that's where like delegating and the fact that we wanted to do and reach, this group of women in our community that kind of needed the support and the space, and then kind of teaming up together to take on different parts of that so that we can each focus on our, what our specialty is,
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, and for, most of my clients are women, and half of them are mothers. And so it's not, you ladies have to have some level of deep organization in place to even make anything happen. Because as you know, they're little tornadoes and it's hard to get anything done. So the fact that you've created this co-space and it's working and you're doing it, it's not meant to work perfectly. The fact is that you guys are actively doing the thing, which is so awesome.
Yeah. And I think also like starting out with, it's like baby steps, right? So ideally we would love to have childcare, or like we talk about someday having a preschool worked into our space. But to start, you know, as a small business owner and just jumping into owning a small business, that wasn't realistic. So what pieces can we start to put together? And as we build it out, then also able to really listen to the moms we're working with and like build it towards what they need and what the real need is in the community. So that's been really important too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one thing that I think as businesses, a big topic that came up was how Toys R Us went out of business, and which is so tragic. And yes, they had a lot of debts and a lot of things they could have done differently. But the first thing that came to my mind was they didn't maximize the potential of their market, right? Mm-hmm. So if they had a play space, if they had some sort of, you know, entertainment, you're bringing your kids there, which is fun. And yes, they love to shop, but that's only one element. And so what you guys are bringing to the industry of co-working spaces to say, hey, we're moms, we have kids. This is something that is actually needed in the marketplace. How do we make it work? So you guys are on the frontier of something really awesome. I know you're the beginning stages of it, but that's just the thing. You have to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, and it's so exciting because we're getting to work with all these other amazing mothers and women who are doing their own things and their outlets and their businesses. And it's all about, like this movement of growing and supporting more mom-minded, kid-friendly businesses in our area that we felt like was kind of lacking before this time. So,
yeah. And one example of how that kind of works and kind of organization too, Kayla had an event planned with a story time, and we opened it up to the community to come in, and the mom that was supposed to run the story time got sick with the flu, but we had another mom that is one of our clients that comes here, and she's a Spanish teacher, so impromptu Spanish teaching went down. We had a Spanish class, and she just had stuff in the back of her car. So I think that's kind of a mom hack, is to always have your business ready to go and what you need to do. So in case one computer fails, another one will work, or whatever. Yeah. Or like Kayla, I have a 5-month-old. And so Kayla's had to take a lot of like closing up after events and things when I needed to go home and take care of him. She's been able to take care of that during this season, but she's going on a trip in a few weeks, and I'm going to run some stuff while she's gone. So just being able to have that help to stay a little bit more organized with one another is super helpful.
It takes a pause. That was why that brand and that kind of vision meant so much and fit so well for us, because that's what we're all about. It's just like, you're not in it alone, you know, so you can do those things that you're good at, and then get the support in the other areas when you need it.
Yeah. And so many of our pod moms work together on projects. We've really been pushing collaboration since that's how we started. We totally could have started 2 separate businesses and never done anything together. But I know this afternoon, one of our preschool teachers is meeting with one of the Spanish teachers to host a camp this summer, and other moms are constantly working together or hiring each other. Which is kind of leading us to one of my next ventures too, about hiring moms to help other moms. And it's just kind of our dream to keep that economy going in its own way, growing ours and growing other businesses too.
Well, and the thing about it is it always comes down to the space. Like, you have moms groups, you get together and you're like, oh, we should do this. And then we have no space. So you're ahead of the curve. You've seen this need. And it is true. The 2 things that stand out the most with being organized as a parent is that you have to be prepared. You have to make sure you're organized for the day ahead. You have not only what you need, but if that goes wrong, plan A goes wrong, you have a plan B ahead of time. And when you don't have that plan B prepared is when chaos can really happen. And then also the second point that you made, which was huge, is so often, just as women in general, we forget that we have a tribe, or we can create a tribe around us for support and help. and lean on them in times of need. And I think we just feel like we have to do all these things ourselves. And that's where faith and friendship really come into play, and leaning on those two as tools to get your projects. And so for you, Brooke, what are 3 things that help keep you organized?
Definitely my planner. We have, some of our moms are the Lemon Tree House, so they make these planners, and we have these Pod Mom planners, which is just like an agenda. And that's really helped me because I have like 3 different emails. I have 3 different jobs. Like I have all these different messages coming at me. So having one place that, you know, technology is amazing. And yes, Google Calendar and all those things are amazing. But, you know, on the day where your phone's not working, or you know, just having something where I'm accountable, I write those things down. I know what that means. That's really important for me. And I just look at that every day, and kind of as I'm going into each week to mentally prepare. And then just like checklists too through the day have been huge.
Yeah, I wanted a planner that worked more for moms. And so one of our members does planners. They create them. And so we had a custom one created for all of our pod moms. So that's one thing. Also for me, this is something for our family that's been really good. Like my husband works full time. I'm running my business, and we have a joint calendar, but through an app called Cozy. It's not amazing, but it works. And so every week it sends on Sunday night a thing of who's going to be where, which person needs to take which child to what event and everything. And that helps me a ton, just to know when my husband's going to be helpful, when he's not going to be, when I can lean in to have him help, or have a friend come and pick up my daughter so I can take this one to a doctor's appointment. So that is really helpful. So planners of some sort is helpful. I think for me, I don't know. I use Asana for both my life and my business. And so right now we're working on a big, this is why I thought it was funny you asked us to interview right now. I'm like massively decluttering our house. We've moved a lot in the last few years, and a lot of things came with us. And I realized this winter, after being home on maternity leave, that it was just driving me nuts, and I wasn't being as productive because we had so much clutter. So we're like we have finished the upstairs, and now we're moving to the downstairs. And so I have all these tasks in Asana just for our decluttering too, to work on it in little portions until we are done with it. And I also use that for my business with all of my clients for tasks. So it just tells me what does immediately need to be done now. As a mom, like, we really need to know what needs to happen now. It's kind of life or death prioritizing. Yeah, because if not, nothing would really get done.
And I just think, like you said, decluttering is like major too, because when you have kids, and you learn that from the first day as you're getting into all the baby stuff, there's so much stuff, and it's hard to feel like clear-minded when you're just like piled in stuff, which is also why I felt the need for this space, because I'd be working from home looking at my pile of laundry and my pile of dishes and the pile of toys I needed to put away. And it was just so hard for me to focus. And so just kind of finding clean or just like clear-minded spaces. So that's what this is for us, certainly. And then just like getting rid of stuff when you can. Like we're working on doing a spring clean swap meet here, so everyone will kind of bring stuff and trade stuff and get rid of stuff, because we just always have so much stuff, I think, that we can always kind of part with and make our loads feel a little lighter.
Yeah. And I like one thing she said, we had a mom post the other day, I'm getting rid of like size 4 and 5 girls' clothes. Does anybody in the pod need them? And she just dropped them off so another mom could take them. And I know I'm going to do that with infant stuff, or little infant stuff coming up, so we don't collect just infant things for another year that we don't need in our house. So it definitely helps to kind of work together to get clean in our house.
And what do you find is like the biggest or the most that's coming at you that's always like, is it laundry? Is it toys? Like, what is the biggest clutter challenge for you guys?
Laundry.
I think laundry has to be the thing, because they just go, I mean, we have so much laundry as it is, at least one thing a day, right? Or maybe two if you have pajamas in your outfit. And then for them, and the kids are like changing all day. You never know what's clean and what was just worn for 5 minutes, you know? So there's just always a lot of laundry. And folding it, and then these little hands getting in and pulling everything out. So that's a constant job.
My daughter wants to help fold, which is great, but it's not that helpful. And then she wants to be able to get her own clothes out of her drawers. So then she goes through and messes them all up. So we're trying to find a laundry routine that works for us.
And when you're talking about, go ahead.
Those little household, like tedious, like chores that, you know, like I was just talking to someone, you know, it takes maybe 15 minutes, but in your mind, it's like so much, and you're trying to be professional and deal with like being present with your kids and being a professional and forwarding your business, and then you go home and you have like another thing of laundry and dinner, and so all those little things that sneak in through the day when you're just trying to like work and play, you know. So yeah.
And how much routine comes into your guys' life? Do you start your morning? Like, do you have a morning routine for yourself before you start your parenting tasks? Or are you trying to get there? What kind of routines do you guys keep to kind of stay organized and make sure that, you know, okay, it's this time and I really want to get these 3 things done today? What kind of practices do you keep in place?
I'll be honest, I like routine, but I wasn't very good at getting my daughter to like routine. I have a 3-year-old. And then we had a lot of behavior stuff surrounding it. So I started looking, what can we do to kind of help with it? And she loves routine. Like that's how we got her to potty train, was very routine wise. And so we have these cards for each like time of the day. So she has like her morning when she wakes up and she goes through those cards. And once that card is complete, then she's ready to go to school in the morning because she goes to school 3 days a week. And then we have an afternoon one. So when she comes in, she knows to go look at her cards and to go through all of those. And it gives her like, maybe you want to go do this activity. And then make sure you put your toys away before nap time. And we have an evening one as well. And that has really helped us. It's helped limit the amount of tantrums that go down in our house. And also having a second child, it's been really nice to have those implemented because it was really hard at first when we were very much not in a routine. Once we had just had him and me and my husband were both home on leave, and it was just a little much for my 3-year-old who likes to have routine. So we've learned that we kind of have to have it in our house or it makes it way more chaotic.
Yeah, I think I'm like the other end of the spectrum, which is why it's been so good to have Brooke, because she's like the business coach, right? So she's there helping me like, no, you really need to get organized. You need to make time for this and that. And so hearing that, but also just hearing you say that, it's like, as we're teaching our children, we're really teaching ourselves. Like how important is it for us all to have routine and to mentally focus on one thing at a time and to give ourselves incentives and like encouragement towards the accomplishments and stuff like that. So it's just funny to be able to reflect on like, well, I'm teaching my toddler this, but really this is so applicable to like our lives as busy.
Oh, for sure. And it's definitely having that routine for her has helped me because I have to make sure all the laundry is in her drawers in the morning or she's not going to have laundry. One day this weekend, she's like, there's no clothes because I hadn't finished the laundry the night before, or like having her lunch packed the night before. And it just helps to make the morning not as crazy because if I set out on a bad morning, the whole day is going to be bad. So.
And that's so true. I always say the morning routine is the most essential. Like you have to have that time as much as we try to take care of ourselves before we get into the motherhood pants and before we get into the work pants. And, you know, we have to kind of be comfortable with ourselves and prime ourselves essentially for the day ahead. So ladies, I want to thank you so much for making this time. I know you're super busy and I love everything that you shared and that your littles were here with us. It's so fun. And if anyone wants to learn more about the Pod Collective, they are located in Tacoma, a collaborative group with a workspace and a growing community, which is so cool. And you can learn more about them at thepodcollective.com. All right, ladies, Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.